Hello, and welcome to the Analyzing Your Data module of the Research Data Training series. I am Paul Byrne, Research Data Services Librarian at Syracuse University Libraries. What we will be covering in this module is creating new variables for your analyses, describing your data, and finally, doing the analysis. First, let's talk about creating necessary variables. We're working under two assumptions here. The first is that your data have already been cleaned, and the second is that you're writing code to do all of this. So, assuming that these assumptions have been met, the first thing to do is to create any ID variables you need. This might be concatenating two or more other variables already present in the data, or creating the kind of ID that simply numbers the records. Next, perform any necessary manipulations on individual variables. For example, flipping the scales in a social survey or psychology experiment, where you need to reverse the coding on individual items before you can combine several of them into one variable. When you do this, be sure to create new variables to hold the manipulated values. Do not change the original variable, or you may not be able to get back to the original values if you've made a mistake. Next, create any composite variables, meaning if there are several individual items you need to combine by adding or taking the average or some other kind of manipulation. Be sure to run any reliability tests to make sure that the variable is actually usable. Finally, create any additional variables such as computing age from birth date or BMI, etc. Above all, check your work. Do crosstabs for categorical variables, mean, maximum, and minimum for continuous variables. It is very important to make sure at this point that you've done everything correctly, as it could have adverse effects on your results. Next, describe your data. Do your descriptive statistics first. You need to know your data and what's there and how things have turned out, as this will better inform you when interpreting the results of your main analyses. Create all the descriptive tables and charts you planned at the beginning. These will be the ones that you put in your final report. At this point, simply make a note of any interesting findings. You can go back and explore these after you have completed the main analyses, but don't let yourself get distracted by something interesting at this stage. Finally, now you can test your hypotheses. Be sure to do so in the order that you propose them, and test them exactly as you said you would. Remember, strange results can be due to a programming error or data cleaning issue, not necessarily something wrong with the data or your hypotheses. So check your programming first. Look for typos, misplaced options, etc. Also look back at how you created any of your variables. Sometimes just a simple typo can have a profound effect on your results. Next, create any tables or charts to report your results. Again, these are the ones that you planned way back and will put in your final report. Now at this point, you can perform any additional analyses that have been suggested by the results of your main analyses, your advisor, reviewers, etc. So in conclusion, do all the housework before you do the analyses. Clean your data, do all the manipulations, create all the variables beforehand. Second, do the analysis exactly as you proposed. And finally, if things look strange, check your programming. Thank you. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know. Our contact information can be found on the web page.